Hey Grace family, and welcome back to our midweek check-in. So last Sunday, my family and I obviously missed being here with you all. So we were out of town, a wedding, and just really were able to enjoy that. But we certainly missed being here with you. In light of that, I want to say thank you to Jimmy for being here Sunday and preaching through Hebrews chapter 12, verses 1 through 3. I had the opportunity to go back and listen to that, and just as I was listening to it and taking some notes, obviously a couple things that stood out to me one was his big idea, and he talked about the idea that we need to focus on God and carry on. And when we got to the application and just kind of bringing out what the text says, it says, "Let us run with endurance the race set before us." And one of the things I really appreciated that Jimmy mentioned was that we need to, in the midst of that race, because it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, but in the midst of that race, we need to care for each other and encourage one another. Because it doesn't take more than a couple of minutes to realize that this world is broken and that there are trials and there are things that each and every one of us is going through. And that in the midst of all of that, whether it's just the world throwing something our way, whether it's relational conflict, some of the things that Jimmy brought out, those can be very exhausting. And what God does is He uses those trials to grow us in our faith. But what He also does is He gifts us the body to put our brothers and sisters in Christ around us, to put our arms around each other, to care for one another, and to encourage each other in the midst of that. And so what I wanted to do is just meet you in the middle of your week and actually give you a challenge in light of that. What I'd like to challenge us all to do is to just take a moment in your prayer time and ask God, say, God, who is one person in our church family that you'd like me to encourage this week? Pick up the phone, give them a call, and just say, hey, I'm checking in on you. I want to see how you're doing and how I can pray for you. So how's your walk with the Lord this week, and how can I pray for you in that? And to kind of build on that a little bit, I wanted to read through a few verses in Colossians chapter 1. This is a prayer from Paul. It brings out that idea of endurance, and it's just a beautiful prayer for how to pray for one another. So this is my prayer for you. I prayed this over you as the church as a whole earlier today, and maybe this can be a tool that you use to pray for one another as you check in on each other during the week. So this is Colossians chapter 1, it's verses 9 through 12, and it says this: "And so from the day we heard, we have not ceased to pray for you, asking that you may be filled with the knowledge of His will in all spiritual wisdom and understanding, so as to walk in a manner worthy of the Lord, fully pleasing to Him, bearing fruit in every good work and increasing in the knowledge of God. May you be strengthened with all power according to His glorious might, for all endurance and patience with joy, giving thanks to the Father who has qualified you to share in the inheritance of the saints in light." So just know, church, that's my prayer over you this week, and I would encourage you as you check in on one another to pray these things over one another. And as we go through and experience the trials and the hardships, the tribulations of life, we can really lean on one another to point us back to Jesus and just allow God to grow us in our faith and our walk with Him as we go through this life together. So looking ahead at this next Sunday, we're actually going to be back in our sermon series, a walk through Psalms, but we're already doing another genre. So we had a couple weeks of divine kingship, which was our 5th genre, and now we are in our 6th and final genre, and we're going to be doing the genre of wisdom. So we're going to be looking at wisdom psalms, and our first wisdom psalm is going to be Psalm chapter 19. So we're going to touch base on most of that chapter, but we're going to live a lot of our time in verses 7 through 10. It's just beautifully laid out for us what a wise life looks like, how it's built upon who God is and what He does and on His Word. So read through that at Psalm chapter 19, verses 7 through 10. I'll look forward to learning alongside of you, and we're really looking forward to being back with our church family this week. So you have a great rest of your week, and I'll look forward to seeing you Sunday morning at 9 a.m.